Well, it's starting. The stories are starting to come out about people who bet everything they had, and some who bet even more than they had, to chase the FOMO frenzy of the social media-induced rocket to the moon, GameStop, as it rose as high as $483 a share, only to drop again and again and again since late January. Today it traded under $40 per share. In late January, when the story broke, this was going to be the little guy's revenge against old Wall Street, against hedge funds, against the evil money. It was a version of Occupy Wall Street, but with iPhones and the Robinhood app. And retail traders had their once-in-a-lifetime chance to get rich quick and to stick it to the hedge funds at the same time. What could be more fun and rewarding? But a lot of people were late to the party and wound up holding the bag. There's a term for that. It's called being a bag holder. That's you if you bought GameStop at $3 or $4 or $483 and are still holding it. Diamond hands. The phrase we learned, holding on to a risky investment, a risky trade against all odds, hoping that it will rise to the moon on a rocket ship. That is, as opposed to having paper hands or weak hands that fold as soon as a risky trade goes against you. Hi, my name is James Callahan, and this is a special edition of The Do-Over Show, GameStop 2.0, an update on where in the world our money is, or went. By the way, tap the like button, please. It really helps.
Melvin Capital had not engaged in...
I see a bit of a noise now.
Sorry. Madam Chairwoman, I'm sorry. I think you're not muted.
Not long ago, I gave you my take on the GameStop frenzy. You can check out that video here. And now Congress is weighing in, with hearings threatening regulation, taxation, and looking for a scapegoat. Someone to blame because some got hurt. Or that isn't how money is supposed to work. Or volatility and big market fluctuations not based on real events, but on hype, are a threat to safe money. A threat to the American economy.
Don't you see and agree that something very wrong happened here and that you're at the center of it? And we are looking on this committee of how we can protect our wonderful, precious financial system.
We know the faces now. Vlad Tenev, the long-haired CEO of Robinhood, apologizing that they let down everyday ordinary traders like you and me, robbing from the little guys and protecting the rich. We learned that everyday retail investors are called dumb money by Wall Street.
In referring to those investors as dumb money.
Retail investors are often referred to as dumb money by Wall Street.
That's not nice. And now we know Keith Gill. That's the Reddit trader known as Roaring Kitty, but this time he was all dressed up in a suit like his mom tied his tie for him.
I'm just an individual whose investment in GameStop and posts on social media were based upon my own research and analysis.
And instead of wearing his headband, ponytail, and t-shirt, we got the serious, lawyered-up version of Roaring Kitty. And Roaring Kitty, he's a millionaire today because of his long-term bet that GameStop was undervalued.
I invested in GameStop in 2019 and 2020 because, as I studied the company, I became more and more confident in my analysis.
He took a risk last year and began building a long-term position based on fundamental analysis, not based on the frenzy or Reddit-induced hype around GameStop. He was in it early and was party to what some in Congress say was social media-induced market manipulation.
The events of late January saw tremendous volatility and stock prices that were totally divorced from market fundamentals.
So what do we know now that we didn't know a week or two ago? Well, nothing. Nothing new, except that by the time it hit the news for all of us, it was too late. And if we jumped in then, we're probably holding a losing long today. Now, Vlad and Robinhood are still sorry they had to prohibit buying of GameStop, which drove the price down fast as there were no buyers and only sellers. The unintended consequence, collateral damage of their margin requirements. But they played it by the book, so there are really no regrets from Vlad. And the congressional testimony turned into a public scolding, like an angry parent shaming young millionaires with empty threats of go to your room.
Could you just answer yes or no? Please answer yes or no. I don't have time. I just need a yes or no answer.
Excuse me?
I'm reclaiming my time.
We've made mistakes in the past. I'm not claiming that I'm
Answer yes or no to that question.
And just like we did when we were younger and being yelled at by crabby parents, they took it. They didn't wisecrack. They said they were sorry, but they followed the law, and they'll keep their money, thank you very much. They're the lucky ones. And now we're learning about those who came to the party late and lost everything, or just a little, and now are mad that they lost their money. Like the 25-year-old security guard who lives with his dad, eats rice to save money, and he took out a personal loan in order to get in on the GameStop frenzy. His long-term goal is to invest and trade so he can retire early. And he saved about $50,000, but he didn't want to cash in his long-term investments, so he went to his credit union, took out a $20,000 loan at almost 12% interest, and laid it down on GameStop at $234 a share. He said, I thought it could go up to $1,000. I really believed in that hype, which was an awful thing to do, he admits. And there's a story about a Chicago dog walker who bought 10 shares of GameStop that was trading at $300 at the time, and has watched his $3,000 investment drop to about $400 today. And he says, hey, if I lose it, I lose it. And he compared it to going to Vegas. And that idea of gambling is one of the problems Congress and Wall Street wants to address to protect dog walkers from themselves.
And one of the assertions that you've heard already today is that investing is, quote, casino gambling. It's using monopoly funny money.
And one more, another Chicagoan, an artist named Tony Moy, who dabbled in the frenzy, buying a couple shares of GameStop, first at $379 a share and a few days later at $228 a share. He said, I knew it was intrinsically the wrong move, he said. All of these latecomers got caught up in the excitement of the WallStreetBets Reddit feed, and they were excited to be part of sticking it to the hedge funds. And here's the interesting part, the psychology of the GameStop trade. And our artist, Tony Moy, put it bluntly. It was a virtual protest. After the pandemic shut down large events where he sold his artwork at comic book conventions, and he got a bad case of COVID himself, his protest trade of buying GameStop, he wears as a badge of honor today. It's going to be a little reminder to me of how 2020 was the year when hedge funds had a great year and everyone else was struggling. And all our protest, angry, amygdala-guided buying of GameStop, it hasn't changed anything. Some hedge funds lost money, but others made money along with Roaring Kitty. So, darn it, nothing's changed except some old congressmen want to lecture us about how fools and their money are soon parted.
It was Robinhood's mistake, though, correct?
Well, Robinhood owns what happened, certainly, and we need to make sure that it doesn't happen again.
But beyond learning the new vocabulary of stonks, tendies, diamond and paper hands, rocket ships, Andromeda, and, yes, even dumb money, here's something that can help us. If we invest, trade, or just chase with a really bad raging case of FOMO, we will lose. Eventually, probably sooner rather than later, because losing is part of this experience. The goal is not just to not lose, although that would be great. It's to keep losses small and ride winners to the moon on rocket ships. And that's the hard part, to hold winners. When it seems like everyone else is making YOLO money on GameStop, it's hard to sit out and watch others as FOMO has us checking our brokerage account every 10 minutes. So managing expectations and avoiding the information bias of only looking at websites or the type of people that agree with us and dismissing people who have a different viewpoint or people who disagree, that's going to be our struggle going forward. So maybe add a little diversity, add some perspective, even people who disagree with you. And if you did get caught up in the frenzy and lost some money, remember, Diamond Hands, it's an unrealized loss until you close the position.
I'm as bullish as I've ever been on a potential turnaround for GameStop, and I remain invested in the company. Thank you. Cheers, everyone.
Okay, I have to interrupt with breaking news. Keith Gill, Roaring Kitty, aka Deep Effin' Value on Reddit's WallStreetBets, who said 3 times in his congressional testimony that he thought GameStop was undervalued and that he not only owned it, but that he would buy more at this price, did it. He doubled his position size to 100,000 shares and some options.
So, yes or no, are you buying the stock? And
for me personally, yes, I do find it's an attractive investment at this price point.
And the Reddit community blew up. He is literally a godlike figure to them. Maybe we can learn from our Chicago artist friend Tony Moy. He's not out a lot of cash, but he's turning his situation into a way to fuel his art and income. Well done, Tony. And well done you for being part of the Do-Over Show. Whether you have diamond hands or paper hands, can you use them to tap the like button, please? It really helps. And I'm so glad you found me and I found you. Thanks.
Cheers, everyone.